Hi, everybody. It's me, Jessica, your health fitness program manager from McLean. And I'm looking forward to guiding you through today's yin yoga practice, which is going to help you to overcome feelings of grief and sadness. And honestly, it's going to be great. Even if you're not currently really struggling with grief or sadness, I bet that you're in a great place for a little extra opening of your heart, for taking some of the pressure off of your lungs, and for opening your hips. I recommend two blocks, and we're going to get started in just a moment in child's pose. So make sure you have your two blocks, and then when you do, I look forward to meeting you in the middle of your mat. And if you want, you can be using your blocks even for this child's pose. Perhaps you want a slightly more energetic child's pose, in which case you could always um, have your forearms elevated. You can have your knees as wide open as you want right now, or as close together. Maybe you don't want your head all the way down on the floor. You can always place your head on a block. And idea of perhaps having your hands elevated. I'm going to stick with the traditional or more traditional child's pose for these first couple of breaths or this morning. All right, so it's yin. Just some gentle reminders for your yin practice is you're looking to create as much stillness and focus within your breath as possible. As other thoughts might bubble up into your head, it's normal. It's okay. Remember, we're working to let go of some stored emotions. So maybe they trigger some thoughts on your way out. Take a moment and recognize when that does happen. And as you can, tune back into this moment right now and your breath. If at any point today a posture goes from being a good stretch, maybe a little uncomfortable, and transfers into the feeling painful vibe, then back your way out. Find a new place that you can relax in your moment and the breath. But if you're just noticing that it's uncomfortable, or maybe a stretch is creating some trembling or shaking, don't be scared. That's normal. Remember, we're trying to get a little bit deeper, maybe awakening some dormant energy. Throughout today's practice, take some scans of your body from your head to your toe. Check in with yourself and uh, where can you relax more? Where do you tend to create tension yourself within your body when you're feeling a little stressed? Maybe you clench your fists, or maybe you really draw your shoulders up towards your ears. Maybe you purse your lips. Just noticing the trends that you take in to your body when you're trying to be quiet and hold it all in, and make sure that you give space to those areas so that today you can let it out. All right, we're going to change our child's pose just a little bit and add some thread the needle. So maybe you still have a block at the front of your mat for a little elevated hand. I'm going to keep my right hand towards the front and start to gently weave the left arm underneath. Bring the left temple towards the mat. We're going to stay here for just about 2 minutes on each side, for a little thread the needle. Take your time. We're going to switch to the other side. So pass back through, threading the needle, and then opposite arm comes underneath the threaded needle arm, palm faces up towards the ceiling. And remember, you have the option to have your forearm lifted for this child's pose. Reminder that if your eyes are moving, your mind is moving. So finding one spot to either relax your eyes, maybe the edge of your mat, maybe closing your eyes and just taking in the back of your eyelids. All right, let's unthread the needle. Go ahead, bring your hands underneath of your chest and shoulders. Let's take a moment in tabletop. Give yourself a slow cat. Enjoy a full cycle of breath up here at this cat. And then passing through your neutral tabletop. Take your time, bringing your chest forward, finding that arch in your spine, slowly making your way into your cow, and then a full cycle of breath in your cow. back into your neutral tabletop. So take the rounding out of your back, lengthen your spine, take the sinking out of your chest and shoulders. I know I was. And let's make our way into melting heart pose. If you're feeling really tight in your chest and your upper back, you might have some trouble getting all the way down to the floor. A block can be a good friend in melting heart pose to melt your heart onto the block instead of all the way down to the floor. So you can always adjust the height of your block to start to walk your hands forward, bringing your chest down, keeping your hips up. And you can have your hands as far forward and close together as feels good for you. If it's feeling really uncomfortable, think about opening your hands a little bit wider, maybe match with distance apart, coming into a little bit more of a goalpost arm also, as opposed to a straight arm. And if you still feel like you're really struggling and it's just not going to happen, instead of keeping your hips stacked on top of your knees, perhaps you relax your glutes back towards your heels, or just like a modified child's pose. We're going to be here for 2 more. So use the imagery of this posture, melting heart, truly melting your heart towards the mat. Or think about it as puppy pose and taking this big stretch. We're just working to wake our body up a little bit. It's like the most adorable puppy. Just a couple breaths left here. Maybe you take an extra little lift of your tailbone, of the low back, enhancing its gentle little arch and separation of the glutes. Maybe a little bit more activation, knowing that we're coming close towards the end. More length and stimulation of the fascia, especially with your hands on the floor, or if you're using a block under your chest to enhance the stretch a little bit more here. One more big inhale. And on our exhale, we're going to bring ourselves forward. So forearms come down to the ground. If they were lifted, remove your block from out of the way. As you walk your legs back behind you, let's come into Sphinx. We're going to hang out here in the Sphinx for just about a total of 5 minutes. Just like the melting heart pose, it's really challenging for you to take this lift of your chest and rounding of the low back. Walk your arms open a little bit wider. Also think about using a block. I like to actually take a block and put it right underneath of my chest, like the same way that trucks do to keep the tire from rolling. I'm basically doing that right here, and it gives me something to press like the lower rib area into the block to feel that bigger stretch in the low back. Let's just take 2 or 3 more breaths right here. And we're going to add an element. We're adding in a little bit of frog. So keep one leg straight behind you. Maybe you have to walk it in. Maybe your legs were a little wider. And then we're going to bring the opposite leg the best that you can. Knee in line with your hip, heel in line with your knee. Create those 90-degree angles. and a little bit of pressure of your inner thigh towards the floor. And then try not to lose the lift of your chest that you created in your sphinx. We have a little more than a minute to go right here. While you continue to enjoy 2 more breaths on this side of frog. Okay, start to wiggle your frog leg back in place. Bring it in line behind your hip. And then let's bring the opposite leg up. You might need to walk or wiggle that leg up. Make some adjustments. Get your inner thigh close towards the mat. Press into your elbows again. And you can stay active in your left leg a little bit as well. I like to relax it as much as possible, though. It helps me feel more of a stretch in the right inner thigh. But if it's too much of a stretch in the right inner thigh, take a little engagement of your left leg quad and glute to take a little bit of the pressure off of that right inner thigh. Great. Just a couple breaths left right here. Okay, start to walk, wiggle your 2 legs back in line with each other. Remove any prop you might have had from under your chest if you were checking out that assist. Let's do some broken wing. Actually, let's take a little stretch of the low back first. So bring your head all the way down towards the floor while you're laying on your chest. Go ahead, bend your knees, soles the feet up towards the ceiling. Take a slow, gentle windshield wipe of your legs in opposite direction. You know your body best. So if you'd like to move a little bit faster with your windshield wipe, you are welcome to. All right, let's bring a bigger stretch to the back, to the chest. We got broken wing next. Starting with both hands right at your chest, go ahead and walk one arm out to the side. I have my left arm out to the side, my right hand close by the chest. Both palms are facing down towards the floor. I'm going to use a little assist from my right hand to roll over onto the left shoulder. Relax your head down to the floor. You can keep your knees bent and you can keep your right hand close by your chest. Or you can increase the stretch a little bit more. Maybe you clamshell your legs open. And then you have an option to really focus on opening your chest, reaching that supportive hand behind you. Try not to let your chest choke your throat. Or a little bit more stretch through the back by walking your supportive hand out into a T. Let's be here for 2 minutes. Pardon. If you moved your supporting hand, bring it back in line with your shoulder. If you open your legs, clamshell your legs back together and carefully roll over onto your chest. Bring both hands in for just a moment. Create length in your spine again. So readjust your body. And then let's make our way into the same stretch on the opposite side. Opposite arm comes out, palm facing down to the floor, in line with your shoulder. And then take your time, tuck your toes, use them to help you to roll over onto your side. And maybe you stay right here because remember, both sides of the body are not the same, and you don't have to do the same thing on both sides. Or maybe you do a little opposite. If you want to open or clamshell your legs, go for it. If you want to walk your fingers a little further away, create more of a stretch in your back, or reach for hands behind you for more of a stretch in your chest. We got just about 2 minutes to go right here. So just find something that you can relax in. If you moved your supportive hand, bring it back in line with your chest. Bring your legs back together. If you opened or adjusted them, and then take your time, roll onto your chest. Once more. Bring your opposite hand in. We're going to press ourselves up. We're going to come into kneeling. If kneeling is really uncomfortable for you, just come into a more comfortable seated position. Uh, but do think about perhaps using your block to make kneeling easier. I like to place my block a long way, so there's a little bit more support for the glutes. All right, we're going to take a moment with our chest up, a little stimulation with your hands. So take your pointer finger and just fold it in. Try to bring your pointer finger to your palms. And then the thumb is gently going to cross over the pointer finger and work to touch the tips of your middle finger and ring finger. Can you extend your pinky out long? And place that delightful little hand mudra on your lap. On your next inhale, draw your shoulders up towards your ears and back. Exhale, relax them down. Knit your rib cage in. So take that extra flaring out of your back. Do your best to keep your shoulders stacked on top of your hips, right by your heels. We can do it. We're going to be here for just about 1 minute. Last cycle of breath right here. Release the mudra you created with your hands, maybe even a little wiggle or spirit fingers. Next, we're going to come into pigeon. So bring your hands back down to the floor. Bring one knee forward, toe coming towards the opposite side of the mat. Walk yourself back. You can use your prop here also. The goal is to get the left hip side. So if you walked your left hip back and you have your right knee bent closer to the mat, we're trying to get the extended leg that's behind us, that hip closer to the mat. Take a moment, even look over your shoulder. Try to get your leg straight in line with your hip. All right, we're going to spend one more minute. If you're still here with me, lifted. So that front leg glute is floating, unless maybe you brought a prop underneath of it. One more big inhale. On your exhale, if you want to release yourself down to your mat or your block, can you create a little length in your spine here? So instead of coming down and finding rounding in the shoulders, we're working to open the chest. Can you bring your chest forward a little more towards the triceps? That might have also helped you to roll a little more toward the left hip crease. Feel extra stretch throughout the right side glute hip complex. Okay, if you made it to the floor, let's press ourselves back up. Tuck your back toe under for a little support. Oh, we're just going to pass through to the opposite side. I'm going to give myself a quick little child's pose, big stretch. And then come back forward. Opposite knee towards the wrist. Walking, wiggling toes to the other side of the mat. And then walking your leg behind you. Take a quick look. Do your best to line your leg up nice and straight. We're here for just about a minute in our big lifted pigeon. And then we can become beautiful sleeping swans. Still working to create the length of your spine. Can you take a bit of the rounding out of your back? Maybe you even have a bit of a back bend going in the opposite direction here if you're feeling pretty flexible. Last two breaths as a beautiful lifted pigeon. You're like the king pigeon. You're about to turn into a swan if it feels right. You can release yourself down towards the mat. As you do, press into your elbows, find length, find release of shoulders away from ears. Okay. Wake up, you sleeping swan. Lift yourself up. Let's shift the weight onto our glute. Send your legs in front of you. Keep both of your blocks nearby. Go ahead, plant the soles of your feet down on the floor. We're going to lower ourselves onto our backs. Yay. Next up is a supported glute bridge. Okay. Maybe you walk your heels a little closer into the center line of your body. Press into them as you lift your hips up and slide a block right at the bottom of your back. You can have your block on whichever position feels right for you today. Glutes are gently relaxing off the side. Check in and notice if you're choking out your throat with your chest. And work to seat your shoulders a little more down your back to create a little bit of opening of the chest. Palms can be facing down towards the floor for some grounding or up towards the ceiling to receive some positive energy. Spend one more minute just relaxing, using your exhale to maybe sink a little bit deeper, enjoying the self myofascial release and gentle bit of pressure that you're creating, lower back into the floor, a little stretch into the abs and belly as well, starting to help to stimulate digestion. Mhm. On your next inhale, press into the soles of the feet, lift your hips up. Exhale one vertebrae at a time. Release your back down to the mat. Perhaps you place your block to the outside of the mat, right by your thighs. As the next step, we've got a spine twist. Go ahead, open your arms nice and wide. Press into your feet, move your hips to one edge of the mat, and drop your knees over to the side. You might like a block underneath of your legs or between your knees to help you better stack your hips. We're here for a little more than 1 minute from right now. Can you relax the opposite shoulder on the floor of the direction that your knees twisted? Give it a try. Last couple breaths here. Melt a little bit more into the mat. Take a bit of the muscling out of the posture if you notice that it's there. All right. Leaving the block on this side. Go ahead and roll onto your back again. Ground through the soles of your feet. Realign your spine on the mats. And then go ahead, shift your hips to the side and roll over opposite side spine twist. Can you get both of your shoulders on the mat today? Just working in a little extra stretch to try to get that opposite side shoulder down. If you didn't already turn your chin in the opposite direction of your knees, it's a great opportunity to bring an extra stretch into your neck. Last minute right here. Excuse me. Whichever direction your knees are pointing, bring both arms to that side. Take a moment, and then we're going to press ourselves up so we can set up our blocks to help us with our very last posture, getting some supported fish pose. Okay. You're going to take your back block on the highest length so that you have something to support the back of your head. You're going to take your opposite block, maybe on the medium, one of the medium heights. Place it just between uh, your shoulder blades. And then carefully lower yourself back. You can keep your knees bent. Maybe you bring the soles of your feet together. Maybe you come into some sort of sukhasana. Really encouraging some opening of the heart in this last posture. If you don't want this block behind your head, you can always work to create a little extra stretch, a little extra heart opening to really release your head down towards the floor. I like to place my block on a slightly lower option so there is a little bit more opening of the head and chest. One more minute with supported fish pose. To come out of this posture, we're going to carefully roll to the side. You can bring the soles of your feet back to the floor to help support you in this journey. I'm going to allow knees to roll to the side, like we're coming into a spine twist, really nice and slow, getting those props out of the way. And then removing the props, lay down on your back, working your way towards that final Savasana. Hopefully, it felt really great to enjoy a little bit of pressure, stimulation in that mid to upper back. Now you can enjoy complete relaxation. We're going to close today's practice out from here on the floor in Savasana, as I encourage you to stay here a little bit longer. Take a couple extra breaths. I hope you're feeling a little lighter, a little more open, both energetically, physically, mentally after this practice. As always, if you have any questions or concerns, please do reach out. Till we are together again, think good thoughts, speak good words, eat good foods, do good deeds, and take the time to nourish yourself from the inside out because you're worth it. Take a moment, reflect on a positive intention that you have for today. Or if you're taking this class in the evening, perhaps reflecting on something you're proud of for accomplishing today. May that thought have brought a smile to your face. Okay. Relax here on the floor for a few more breaths. Decide right now how much longer you intend to stay. Thank you so much for coming, for taking a part of my energy, for giving out to the universe a bit more of yours. As always, remember that the light within me honors, sees, and is so thankful for the light within you. May we all keep shining. Have a wonderful rest of your day.